So you've got that dream job. Woo, let's go. Success, cha-ching, money's coming in the door. You're excited, you're happy, and whatever. Well, I'm not so sure about that. The best job is where you can get up every day and say, yes, I would do this job for free, but are we in that job? I mean, you feel like it today. Are you certainly going to be there tomorrow? What happens if you get promoted and you stop building widgets and actually start teaching other people how to build widgets? Maybe that's not the right path for you. There are some simple tools that we can teach you today on the video to discover, am I in the right role? Am I going to be a better fit in future roles or roles in different companies? Stay tuned to find out. How does self-awareness help us achieve career success? Well, we have to figure out who we are before we can figure out where we fit into this grand scheme of economics and jobs and entrepreneurialism and whatnot. So this next slide is going to kind of walk you through some of our methodology so you can better understand yourself. Take a look. Outgoing folks and reserved folks. So when I talk about this outgoing personality style, these folks are fast-paced, involved, energetic, optimistic, positive, enthusiastic. Woo! Take the leg by the tail, just sling it around and throw it somewhere. When conflict comes along, however, though, they focus on talking things out. Hey, Alicia, how are you? Hey, can I help you? Can I help you? Hey, you good? You good? You good? You good? You good? And she wants to slap my hand away. And so if she's more a reserved person, she's going to be a little bit slower paced. Now, that doesn't mean she works slowly. That means just she's slow to act or get engaged because she wants to think things through before she speaks. So they're cautious folks, they're concerned, they're reluctant, critical thinkers, and always discerning. And when conflict comes along for them, they focus on thinking things through. Should I? Nope. But don't have all the facts yet. And that's their mentality. All right, so where are you on that scale of outgoing versus reserved? If you're outgoing, kind of remember that I'm towards the top of the screen. If you're reserved, you're more towards the bottom of the screen. We're going to divide you into people person or if you're more of a task-oriented person. People-oriented folks are all about caring and sharing and relationships and emotions and feelings and friendships. They focus on the opinions of others and how they feel. So we tend to be pretty emotional, and I am very much a people-oriented person. I'm an emotional guy. You know, I cried during the movie Frozen. Nobody does that, but I did because my daughter was there, and she's gonna have a boyfriend one day and get married. And she said, "Pull it together, Dad." Anyway, because she's more of a task-oriented person. She's all about procedure and function and forms and programs and processes and analytics. She focuses on getting things done at the end of the day. So now you're finding yourself on the top of the screen or the bottom of the screen, and you're on the left side or right side. So let's define a little bit about what each one of these quadrants mean. So we've got these outgoing, task-oriented people. We're going to call you high Ds or dominant styles. Never met a challenge you couldn't face, love to be in charge, take charge mentality. Then we've got our outgoing and people-oriented folks. Those are our inspiring styles. We're going to call you high Is. Just love influencing others, oozing charisma all the time, just like to be in and around people. You're all about having fun. And then we have our supportive styles. Those are our reserved and people-oriented. Kind folks, make super friends. They're great listeners, give you the shirt off their back. They're just wonderful people and the glue of any organization. And then we have our high Cs, which are reserved and task-oriented people. These folks are analytical. They are, think about accountants, lawyers, doctors, those kind of people who are just high-level thinkers. These people are the E.F. Hutton of the disc world. If you remember the old commercial, when E.F. Hutton talks, people listen. That's right, people listen. So C's don't really say a whole lot most times, but when they do, they've really thought through what they have to say, and it's usually like, oh, pretty epic in terms of the results of that. Now, we're all a unique blend of these four traits. So we all have a little bit of D, a little bit of I, a little bit of S, and a little bit of C, some in more categories than others. I'm an IS. My I is really, really high, my S is really high, and then everything else kind of falls towards the bottom of the scale. So, number one, career success step, know your work environment. Are you a person that's going to be working with a lot of other people, let's say in a call center or in a building with, lots of other accountants or what have you, or are you going to be isolated? Are you going to be in a cubicle? Are you going to be working remotely? So D's and C's are going to embrace that work remotely, work from a cubicle type of thing because they like to focus on getting things done. They're task oriented. So They don't need the fluff. They don't need to hear about what happened on The Voice last night or any of that other stuff. You know, Netflix, The Witcher, you know, I don't need to know about that. I just need to come in. I've got things to do. I don't have time for your coffee pot talk. I's and S's, though, they do need that. They're getting energy from being around other people. So those folks on the people side of the graph, they want to be in a work environment where they can see other people, that they can interact with, they can have conversations, they can have friendships, they can have relationships at work. A lot of their relationships at work are some of their most important relationships to them. D's and C's, not so much, because again, they're there to do a job. I's and S's, there to do a job, but they're also there to meet and be around other people. So you're a high D that's working in an isolated environment. You're like a pig in slop. You love that to death. But let's say you're surrounded by other people who can come in and out of your office out of the time. That is going to be so challenging for you because you can't get things done because people keep saying, hey man, you got a second? Hey, you got a second? Hey, no, I don't have a second. So how do we alleviate that? Well, we alleviate that by not going into those situations in the first place. But if we are in those situations, we can't avoid them. We have to learn how to adapt in our environment. So what is emotional adaptation? How does that work? Let's take a look at this next slide and I'll show you my personal disc graph and how I adapt emotionally and talk about energy and gaining it from a role versus losing it from a role. When you take an assessment, you'll have two different styles. You'll have an environmental style and a basic style. We're going to talk about the basic style today. On the screen right now, you see my personal basic style graph, and you see my D is a 38, my I is 100, my S is a 92, my C is a lowly little 12. And so what does that mean? Well, if you look at that midline there, that little gray line that goes right across the screen, that's going to be right at the 50 percentile. So any bar that's above the 50% is a predominant trait for you. So in my instance, my I is 100, so I'm an I, but my S is also a 92. It's above that midline, so I'm an I-S blend. The order is determined by whichever the higher number is. Now you can be a blend of 3, you can be just a single, you can be a blend of all 4. Someone who's got all 4 around the 50 percentile is what we call level. So in my particular example, I am an IS, and so things that, or behaviors that I would do that are around an IS come easy for me. So for example, speaking to large groups of people. As 100 on the I scale, man, I can do that twice a day, all day long. Let's do it on Sundays, whenever. I get a lot of energy and enjoyment from that. My S is a 92, so I get a ton of emotional energy from helping other people. So that's why I love to work summer camps and influence young people. That's why I like to help other people in the workplace and doing these videos for you guys free of charge to help you be better than you were before you met me. But then you've got my lowly little C of a 12. And so when I have to go back and organize these videos and talk to my YouTube team about those kind of things, man, that's a struggle for me because it takes a lot of emotional energy for me to climb that ladder to get from that 12 above the midline. So I'm able to do those things from the C perspective with a certain degree of proficiency. Now, can I do them? Yes, I can certainly do them. As a CEO of a billing company, I also have to do this every month. And the worst time of the month for me as a CEO is the end of the month. Why? Because that's when reports are due. And gosh, I have to take a look at pro formas and P&Ls and projections, and I can't stand that stuff. And so I have to really adapt my behavior to get inside of myself in terms of what do these numbers mean and what does this mean for our company? So it requires a lot of energy. I can look at a spreadsheet for 15 minutes and feel like I've been digging ditches for 8 hours straight. It just takes so much energy from me. So when we're talking about this basic graph roll, anything that's above the midline, also called an energy line, you gain energy from. Anything below that midline, you're going to be losing energy. So as an IS blend, to get career fulfillment for me, I need to be doing things that are involving other people and influencing others. Well, that's why I speak professionally. And that's why I've created this YouTube channel for you guys. I want to influence you, I want to inspire you, and I want to support you in being the best version of you that you can be. So speaking to audiences of thousands of people does not require a great deal of energy from me. In fact, I get in a great deal of energy from that, a great deal of enjoyment from that. The more people in that situation, the merrier. Now, I've got Alicia behind the camera right now who's trying to smile for me, but there's not a lot of energy in this room right now. So I'm having to adapt because I'm talking to a camera. And if I move this way, then Alicia has to follow me, but I have to maintain eye contact on this stupid bloody freaking camera. And it's frustrating me, and I've talked about it already with my film team this morning, but I'm adapting emotionally and I'm overcoming that. But when I'm done with this film session today, I'm gonna be very spent. I'm gonna be so tired because I've had to focus My moves a little here, slightly, and then she has to react, and I move over here, and then I have to focus on the camera and look at you guys. Versus on a stage, and I can be like, okay guys, we're doing this today, and woo, let's go. Hey, Allie, you're doing a great job over there on the stuff, woo! So I'm building energy and gaining energy from the room. So from that perspective, speaking is wonderful for me. But doing this, I'm having to adapt a little bit. Now I'm sharing, which is good. That's giving me some energy. And I know I'm having some positive impact on your lives because I'm hearing from you in the comments. But if I had to just talk to this camera every day, it's not nearly as good as if I'm out there speaking to you in person. I'm gaining energy from that. And now once I get back home, then I have to talk to the other person who helps me run this channel and the team, and we have to start talking about details and when does this get produced and when does this get done and we need to swap and change and move this out and all those details that I hate. Remember, my C is really small. I'm less than a 20. So anytime I'm having to do those things that require organization or planning or process or procedure, I'm really having to move that C up and really having to spend a great deal of energy adapting emotionally. You see that what I'm talking about there? You've got to understand that yes, you do certain things well, and those things really come easy for you because they're right in your wheelhouse. They're right in your emotional sweet spot, so to speak. And then those things that don't, that require you to really muster a lot of energy, those things are not in your sweet spot and you're having to adapt. So in career success, you got to find the places where you're not going to have to adapt all the time, because if you do, you're going to be miserable. You're just going to be over and over. You may be great at math, but you hate sitting down and being isolated. So you want to maybe be in an actuary in an agency where there are other actuaries, maybe in a firm that has lots of other people so you can interact with them. Now, unfortunately, there's a lot of C accountants, so you're not going to have a lot of success there because they're going to want to stay in their cubicle. But the point is that you've got to find the best place for you from a work environment standpoint. Second tip for career success is know the personality style of your boss. So if you can walk through the activity we did earlier today where you talked about outgoing versus reserved and people versus task, you can kind of get sort of an idea about where your boss might be. And that's going to help you better answer his or her questions when they have issues come up or opportunities that come up, or they ask you to lead a project, or they want you to take on this new piece of the puzzle for your job description that you may not otherwise have. And so understanding their perspective is key to career advancement and to being better than you were before you had this knowledge after this video is done today. D's are direct. They're going to shoot straight. So you shoot straight back at them. They come up in your face, you get up in their face. They walk a little closer, you walk a little closer to them. It doesn't matter, because if you don't and you back off, that's going to be a sign of a weakness to them. So show strength to those D's. I's are about influencing others. They want to see your passion, your enthusiasm. If you come in there like a cold, dead fish, you're not going to get that promotion. You're not going to be leading that project because they want you to feel the same passion that they have. So go for it. S's are great listeners, and they're always concerned about the welfare of others. So anytime you're talking about a project or anything like that, it's always about what's going to impact for the team. How's that going to impact the team? How are people going to be involved? Do we have to hire people, fire people? If you do that, you're going to get to the conscience and the heart of a person, and that's what those S's love. C's, God bless you. I love you guys. You are those analytical folks. And so when you have those analytical people that you're talking to, keep it to the facts. Just the facts, ma'am, as they said back in the Dragnet days. Don't come in there with all the bells and whistles and how product 2.5 is going to be better than product 2.0. It's going to be great. No, none of that. Okay. Keep it straight. Hand them the facts. Let them think about things before you ask them what they feel or what the next steps should be. If you do that, you'll thank me later. And tip number 3. Understand what you're willing to sacrifice that will lead you to success. For some people, that sacrifice is going to be time away from their family. For some people, it's going to be money, because if you're in education, you're not going to be making as much as folks with a 4-year degree who may be a business major and they're working in some firm somewhere. So what are the things that you're willing to sacrifice to earn success? And you have to stop comparing what success looks like to you to what success looks like to others. Because for a high D, man, it's about moving up the food chain, about climbing the corporate ladder, being success, the big cars, the big rings, those outward signs of success. For I's, it's about the fun and how much they can have fun in their role, and if they're restricted, they're going to be out of there. So they want to have something where they can be expressive and be flexible. And for those S's, they want to be part of something bigger than themselves. They want to be part of something with a cause or something that they can just dump their passions into and get behind so they can feel a part of a team. And for C's, they want that analytical success of knowing that they're doing the job right the first time, all the time, and they're surrounded by other people who take their jobs and their careers very seriously. Where you fall in that environment, you're going to be kind of lost. So how do we get that self-awareness piece? It comes from a tool. I mean, there's lots of tools out there. The tool we use is a personality assessment. You can find a link in the description below for those personality assessments. They are fantastic for giving you this self-awareness piece so you can figure out where you best fit in your role at your company. Am I a cubicle kind of person? Am I an outdoors person? Do I need to be in a car traveling across the country? Do I need to be somewhere where I'm a part of a team and something that's bigger than me? You won't know that for sure until you take an assessment. Stop the video, go down to the description, click on the link, take an assessment. You'll thank me later. Join me on the next video when we start diving into more emotional intelligence topics in the workplace. I'll see you then.